to the third day of November 2025. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation, a live video diary exercise that I do every morning at around 5:30 a.m. I do this exercise to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone, which you can read for free at goingalone.org. I also use the time to think about the last 24 hours and how I did with any challenges or opportunity of note that kind of stressed the boundaries uh, of my creed, either where I performed very poorly or very well, because I can learn from either one. Uh, this is a journal, so don't be surprised if I talk for a long time or for a little bit of time. And I talk about sensitive subjects and personal things sometimes, although there's a few things I typically stay away from. But don't be surprised if I do talk about death. That seems to come up frequently. My own death, that is. I also am deeply grateful to my Patreon supporters, my YouTube members, and those who take the time to watch my videos. Thank you. All right, let's jump into it. I'm going to go a little fast today. Today's my first day of work. If you don't know who I am, I'm a American 61-year-old retired guy living in Japan. I've been retired now formally for about 11 months, but decided to take on a part-time job. And so I'm doing an English teaching gig 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday, beginning today. So I'm a little bit nervous. I actually have 3 lessons today. I had opened up a 2 hour slot and I had filled in all it turns out that there's a lot of demand for what I want to do here, for English teaching stuff. So I opened the slot too much and I got more lessons than I can handle, so I tried to dial it back, but I still have 3 today before I closed it down a little bit. I had opened up a 2 hour slot. Didn't think I was going to get anybody, but wow. All right, so as such, I'm a little bit nervous and I want to prepare for that, restart the computer, get everything lined up, figure out my calendaring and what I'm going to do for lessons. All right. So, my notes for the last 24 hours. I have one note here. It says walking after the war. And what that's referring to is the main event yesterday, which was where my wife, Yumiko, and her sister, Yoko, and I went to downtown Shizuoka, where we live here in Japan, Shizuoka City, to attend the Daidoge World Cup of Street Performers event happening downtown. And th- what I mean by that, walking after the war, was that it was a strange experience to be there as a post career, post family man. I mean, I'm still a family man, but our daughter is grown and gone and on her own, doesn't need us like she did before. And this particular festival, Daidoge, when we were raising our daughter here in her small years, was something that was very much a family event. I used to haul a big ladder with me on the train, carry it all the way downtown, and we would set up that ladder. I would sit on the or stand on the lower rungs, and my wife would climb 2 or 3 rungs above that, and my daughter would sit on my shoulders, and that gave us a kind of a laddered view. We could see up and over the crowds. We would stand at the very back so that we wouldn't have a lot of people behind us, and we could see easily watch the events of the street performers, and everyone could see, including our small daughter and my rather small wife. So there was that. I always carried that ladder around. I always had a backpack full of stuff. Emily, our daughter, wanted to get her face painted, and she wanted snacks and various and sundries and toys and typical things that happen when you're at a festival like that. Yesterday was none of that. There was no ladder. There was no demand for or pleading demand for a balloon toy. There was none of the, you know, coordination of trying to figure out where to go. We just kind of flowed. My wife and my sister-in-law and I, like 3 adults would do, just flowed through the event, seeing what we wanted to see, lingering where we wanted, having whatever we wanted to eat, which wasn't very much. We just split one bag of French fries. Apparently, the best fries in Japan, according to the labeling among us during the event. Um, and we refilled our bottles of tea at the tea store, not associated with the event. And it was a strange thing. It was a strange thing to experience the event in that post-work, post-active family years life. I liked it, but I only liked it because I had gone through the other part. It's like appreciating hard work after you've lived a life of hard work, or appreciating sobriety, after, like I am now. I was never a big drinker, but I always enjoyed one, you know, no more than one or two small cans of beer at dinner once in a while, not even every night. And now I really don't drink at all anymore, and I appreciate the feeling of not even having a little bit of alcohol in my body anymore, having previously experienced it. You know what I mean. Afterwards, when life gets easier after we either mature or life grows out around us or whatever the case may be, and we're in a new stage of life where some of the earlier stresses are no longer there. Speaking of which, I'm feeling that old anxiety of work again, that because I have two lessons or three lessons today, and the performance anxiety that, will I do a good job, which is a good thing. It's the kind of thing that allowed me to succeed as a worker because I took it very seriously. I got stressed out about it. I always, Sunday afternoons and evenings and Monday mornings were always tough for me at the start of a work week because I had all the job stuff to think about and to prepare for. Grateful for that. Glad it was gone for 11 months. Now it's back a little bit. I wonder if it's going to be much of a part of this as I proceed. If I only do one or two lessons a day, will that remain? If so, then I'm going to have to consider second thoughts on this because like if 1 hour of work a day, Monday through Friday, buys me several hours of stress each day, that's not an equitable balance or return. It might not be worth it to keep it up. But let me see how it goes for a while. Okay, enough about yesterday walking after the war. Relative to the creed, hashtag maturity, hashtag reason, hashtag um, the uphill climb. My creed consists of 8 objectives and 35 principles. Again, you can read all of these in Going Alone in the chapter titled The Good Life. Just go to goingalone.org, look for the link that says read the book, and find the chapter titled The Good Life, and you can follow along. My 8 objectives, and I have no I need to do no more than simply name them. You can read about them in the book if you want more details, but I think the titles are rather self explanatory. Number one is to be always prepared to die, having my affairs, my relationships, and my life's work in order. Number two is to make good and effective use of my time. Number three is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. Four is to cultivate good emotional reactions. Five, to perform good actions relative to my values. Six, to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities so I know how far my reach can extend. And seven, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. And number eight is to maintain my balance, which is a consequence of the aforementioned seven. For the principle that I'll read today, I'm going to read the uphill climb, which is no more than it says. Life sometimes is an uphill climb as we endeavor towards higher altitudes and a better vista and a better vantage on life. The sub principle here is the open ocean swim. A few of my principles here were imbued with my fascination with the ocean, swimming, and the struggles and the challenges that I face when I'm alone, deep in deep water, swimming through the sea. Let's go ahead and read the uphill climb. I will rise each morning and turn my attention to the uphill grade, to the slope which leads up, to the path which resists my climb yet yields ever widening horizons with each step forward. I will move forward and up. I will rarely stop, and I will never willingly go back or even cast a longing backwards glance at the places I've been and have left behind. I'm not going to linger long along the face of my ascent, but rather keep moving forward, always living out of my backpack, so to speak, as I make my rise through the various elevations I can discover and ascend in life. Okay, there's another paragraph here. This is where I added in the open ocean swim bit. Where I used to swim in the sea, I would swim out past the breakers and then parallel along the shore for some distance, maybe a half mile before turning back, coming back. Strange experience to be out in deep water alone in the ocean. Who knows what's out there, right? With currents and big fish, etc. And these are the thoughts that went through my mind largely as I attempted to swim and keep my head turning and taking breath in the churning, choppy sea. Another way to look at this is from the perspective of my life by the sea, where sometimes I slip alone into the ocean to swim far out to deep water and then along the shore. The water is deep out there, and the waves incessant, pushing me now up and then back and over and across as I make my best line along the distant shore. No matter how the sea might rock or jostle my body, I carry on. I keep swimming. And when a larger wave foils my attempt to take in a breath of air, filling my mouth instead with salt seawater, I only sputter and spit and yet carry on. I swim to the sea with a steady resolve, apathetic to the sea, while nonetheless engaged upon and within it. This is the uphill and steady climb forward. This is the open ocean swim, which, as I reflect now on today's challenge, getting on to today's activity, which is 3 lessons I'll be teaching from 9:30 a.m. I It is an uphill climb and it is an open ocean swim. And the price is, instead of sitting on the shore and thinking about the sea, venturing out into it and making my way across dangerously and precariously with water filling my mouth and threatening my clear breath. Do I want to do that? Well, I have the choice now, the option to make a decision, yes or no. In past years, I didn't have that option. Now I do. So it'll be interesting to see how I decide to go. I've already described what I'm going to do today. 3 lessons beginning in a few hours. Let's read comments. Hello, Tim. Good morning to you. Weather check for the UK at 8:34 p.m. is 6.3 C and 85% humidity. A bright and breezy day. Here it's Tim. It looks like it's about what? It's hard to read. About 12 degrees, and I'd say it looks like about. Move that somehow. Could that be 80% humidity, or is that? It's either 80% humidity or 45% humidity. I can't read it right. David, hello, David. Good to see you, David Jackson. Hi, all. Hi, Senpai Kurt. Cracking video on the weekend. Love cracking video on the weekend. Love the nostalgic view of old spots. Thank you. Oh, the video of the hike that you're referring to, my our latest retiring in Japan upload, the hike through the village um, where no one lives anymore, or at least nobody that I used to know. Everyone seems to be gone. Yeah, that was quite a nostalgic hike for sure. Everyone, you can see that if you want on my YouTube channel. It's the latest video um, upload from the Retiring in Japan series. Evelyn says hi to myself. Hello, Evelyn, Tim, and David. Tim says hi to Evelyn. Okoyama Ray, good to see you. It's been a while. 13 degrees and 67% in the middle of three-storm atmospheric river. Ooh, that sounds dramatic. Those atmospheric rivers. David says, I hear you about looking forward, but I think looking back sometimes is important as it reminds me what is important in the present. Yeah, I would agree with that. Evelyn says a brilliant idea about the ladder at public events. The trick, Evelyn, was to make sure that we positioned ourselves in such a way that we didn't in ourselves become a nuisance, right? I mean, if we got to the event really early and set up our ladder at the very front, then that's quite a, we become the spectacle, right? So we would always do it in such a way that we could, be back and away so there's not anyone really behind us anymore. And it worked out pretty well. All right, everybody. Well, I think I'm going to sign off for now. Like I said, I have a job to do today, and I'm going to sign off from here. Reboot. I borrowed my wife's computer. I'm going to reboot the computer and get everything set up. Lay out my lesson plans, and when I see you tomorrow, if you choose to join me tomorrow, I will be have a working day in the bag. Tim says, "Good luck on your first day of work." Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. Have a great day. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care. Oh, and Jim Jam Birds, if you see this, I'm still working on your book. Bye bye.